Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Brilliant. Thanks, David. Great to be here as always. Just a quick introduction. My name's Tom Petley, and I am the product manager of HaloITSM. And I've done a number of these presentations over the years. So I know the timeframes are very, very short. We don't get long to show you kind of what Halo is all about. So I'm not going to go into a PowerPoint today. I'm going to go straight into a product demo and try and show you as much of the kind of key areas that kind of get asked questions most of all. And I'm going to try and kind of rattle through as much of that as I can in the next 20 minutes. Just before I start, I am going to give you a very, very, very brief overview into who Halo are. So Halo is an ITSM solution designed to be really intuitive for both you guys who are kind of your analysts, your agents, and also administering the system, but very specifically around the end users as well. We really promote self-service, and it's one of the key kind of driving factors that kind of drives the innovation here at Halo. We're a UK-based company, but we've also got offices in the US and Australia. So we've got 24-hour coverage and data centers in all those regions as well. So I'm going to start off by just a little case study page here. I haven't got time to go into any case studies, but if you do want to, just go onto our website and you can read through various case studies, kind of migrations from ServiceNow and all different public sector, private sector, there's loads of good stuff on there. But we're going to focus here on going straight into the software and going through as much of the product as we can in the time we've got. So I've got two tabs here. My first tab here is what we call the agent view. I know some tools call them analysts or technicians even. This is basically the place where the resolvers or the fulfillers will go in and kind of work. We've also got the self-service portal, which we just branded up today for kind of SDI branding. But this would take your corporate branding on here, and this would be your portal for your end users to go to. I'm going to start in the agent view and show you a few things here first. So each of the different, I'm going to call them modules, these different areas in Halo. Although I'm going to call them modules, Halo is not priced on a modular basis. Everything you see is it's an all-inclusive product. You get everything for the price you pay. So you can turn different things on and off. You can kind of grow into the tool, but you get it. It's all there available for you under the same cost. So even if you, for example, don't want to use change management from day one and want to implement it later, you just turn it on or turn it off, and it's all there for you. I'm going to start in the incidents area though, and you'll see as I go into this area here, it's going to default to incidents by team. And that just means we have our teams of people down the left-hand side here. Halo is all role-based access. So depending on the role of the individual, they'll see the relevant teams down the left-hand side, have the relevant access throughout the program. Whatever I select down the left-hand side, it's just going to filter this list of incidents based on that selection. So I can click on James's queue and see the one assigned to him, or my queue, and I've got 4 assigned to me. A couple of quick things. We can drag and drop to reassign. So I can quickly assign that to James. And we can also drag and drop to merge or link as well. So if you do get duplicates, or if you are kind of handling a major incident, you can very easily merge and link just by dragging and dropping. We can also sort by any of these columns. So we can sort by things like our SLA time left. And this is a traffic light system, so it does go from green to orange to red as it progresses through those SLAs. As I hover over these columns as well, you'll see there's a little filter that appears. So I can filter on any of these columns as well. So maybe I just want to filter on our high priority, or maybe filter on a keyword in the subject line, maybe on the portal, for example. And that'll just filter your view based on that search. There are also big searches at the top here and the top here as well, if you do want to search outside of your scope or search elsewhere in the system for knowledge-based articles and things like that. Let me just remove this. There's also underneath here the option to add additional columns as well. So again, the individual, based on their role, will be able to edit their view, and they can then add additional columns in that they need to for their role. So I'll just add the user column in there. And I'll just drag and drop it up here somewhere. We've just got a user column in there. It's very, very straightforward to use. When it comes to incidents, requests, problems, changes all being raised into the system, we've got loads and loads of different channels that you can utilize. We've got email integration, we've got the self-service portal, we've got live chat and chatbots. We've got telephony integration. We've got lots and lots of third-party integrations as well. REST APIs, mobile apps, all the things you'd expect. I'm going to briefly show you how to raise a new incident manually just by going to that button in the top right. From here, we're just going to select our user, and you'll see here we can either search by their name or additional information. So basically, you just type their name in, or additional info basically means email address, phone number, network login, whatever it might be. All our users would typically be synced from AD or Azure AD or any other identity management platforms you might use. And we can just pull in any attributes that we want to from those tools and just map them into Halo. If the user, for example, is calling up from a different location to their standard location or a different phone number from their default phone number, we can change it on a per ticket basis as well. I'm just going to go ahead and raise an example incident and just paste it in there. Nice things about these boxes, all the boxes in Halo, they support rich text, so you can paste in screenshots, links, whatever you might need to in there, all the formatting options up here. We also have the option of adding attachments up here, and you can also drag and drop attachments onto the form as well. Up the top here, there's also options to apply templates, and that's basically your really frequently asked or frequently logged tickets. And all it's going to do is basically populate the whole form. So you can just pick the template, populates the form, and then just in a couple of clicks, it's all logged for you. It kind of takes away that pain of kind of filling out the form for these things that kind of really frequently asked, password resets, email, quarantine release, that kind of stuff. Another nice thing about Halo is that all the drop downs are also searchable. So you can just start typing. You don't have to scroll through long lists of kind of drop down values. And hopefully that should mean all your kind of instance requests are all categorized and prioritized correctly. I'm just going to select our impact and our urgency. I'm also going to associate an asset. Not sure we have much time to talk about assets today, but just to mention, we've got a full asset management module, CMDB, and if we do get time, I'll come on to it later, but just bear in mind it's all there for us. Up the top here, we've also got this suggested articles bot that runs in the background. I'm going to come back to that in a second, but just bear in mind it does run on this screen as well. And I'll just submit that. So in my out-of-the-box workflow I've got here, it's just going to drop into our first line unassigned queue. But you can build kind of automation behind that. So you can automatically assign that to the relevant person. You can have it assigned to yourself if that's the flow you want to have. You can even do it based on things like qualifications and certifications that people have or skills matching. And you can do that automation based on any of the fields on the form. So it might be based on the service or based on the category or whatever it might be. You can use those fields to automate that assignment. As I go into this incident, I am now going to touch on this suggested articles bot that runs in the background. So this is going to suggest us knowledge base articles based on keywords in the subject line, based on the categorization of the incident, based on the service as well, if it's assigned to a service, also any assets as well. So it's going to suggest those articles based on that. The knowledge base in Halo, we can have technical articles, so we can have internal facing knowledge base articles down here. And we can also have those articles published to the self-service portal, so you can publish them to your end users as well. As an agent, it may be that I want to work through this article myself and use the resolution to help me resolve this incident. But I may also want to send that to my user and just say, would you mind just stepping through these this guide, see if you're able to resolve this incident. So to do that, we just press send with next action, and then I'm just going to email the user. And all this is going to do is just populate a link to that knowledge base article, and that will take them to the self-service where they can go into that knowledge base article. You can also embed that article in the email as well if you prefer. When it comes to emailing the user, you can just simply type an email. And again, you can utilize screenshots, images, just paste them straight in. We've also got all the standard email functionality. You can have CC addresses, attachments, BCC, and also can text, which are predefined responses in the system. So you can just call upon them at any point in time and then just literally paste, it just drops them straight into the email. And again, they're role-based access as well. So different, let's say, service desk team would have their own articles compared to some of your resolver groups who might have different can text items. The other nice thing you can do is to create new can text. So if you have written a nice email, all you do is highlight the selection, hit the plus button, and then it goes and creates this can text item. And then the restrictions at the bottom, depending on the role of the person who's creating it, they may only be able to create it for themselves, but they may be able to create it for their team, department, or even global if you've got that access. I'm just going to send that off, and I'm going to keep it in progress, but if we were to put it to with user or with third party, that could pause our SLA. Okay, I appreciate I'm going through quite quickly, but I've got a lot to show you today. So If there are questions, just drop them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them at the end. Just moving through a few more of these. So another nice feature of Halo is scheduling functionality. So more and more organizations are moving towards kind of a proactive approach to kind of managing the support. And a big part of that is scheduling in work going forward. So as part of this, we have the scheduling tool, and you can schedule that in, and it can either be an internal task or an internal piece of work to do, or it can be an external facing one, so working with the end user and scheduling in with them. As I create this appointment, I won't invite myself, but you can invite the end user, and if you have integrated with Azure or Microsoft Teams or Zoom even, that can send a meeting invite out to the end user and put it in their calendar with a Teams link as well if it is kind of using Teams. As I create this appointment, you'll see it does a few things. It adds an appointment to the actual incident itself. It kind of shows up on this appointments tab as well. And it also shows in the Halo calendar. So the Halo calendar becomes like a shared calendar, and you can see that kind of global view of everything that everyone's kind of got scheduled in. And again, it's a great view for managers to have that visibility from here. This also synchronizes with Outlook calendars or Office 365 calendars, so you don't have to be managing two calendars. It all just synchronizes, and you can just have a central individual calendar. You just work from Outlook or work from Halo, depending on your preference. So going back to the incident now, I'm just going to work through a couple more things here. I'm just going to give a no, I've not got time for that. I'm going to go through the resolution process. So in Halo, we've just got a standard resolution process. But the one thing I just wanted to highlight is that we do have built-in customer satisfaction here. So we've got our built-in smiley faces. So if you are moving towards kind of operating with kind of XLAs and kind of a customer feedback-driven approach, we have these one-click smiley faces, we call them. So all the user has to do is click the smiley face, logs a level of feedback, and then off the back of that, we do capture it as soon as they click it, but you can also take them to the portal where they can either fill out a simple comments box or kind of go and fill out a survey if you want them to as well. So it's a little bit like, it's almost like the supermarket when you click the smiley faces. It's a really great way of kind of tracking your level of service and kind of continually improving that service going forward. Okay, that's a very, very quick view of managing an incident from an agent's perspective. I'm now going to go to the self-service portal and show you what that's like for our end users. So from here, this is all widget driven. So you can put whatever widgets you want onto here. And you'll see here, we've just got some standard big buttons here, a big search bar at the top, recent activity, then some service status as well if you do want to publish any kind of known faults that are there. And your user can just hit the buttons to keep updated and keep involved in the communications. So everything we're doing is just trying to basically be more transparent with our users, sharing information, but also reduce the number of kind of unnecessary incidents and requests logged by kind of presenting the information that we've got here. We'd always recommend a big search bar at the top. So it's one big search bar. We call it a multimodal search because it is searching everything that you want to kind of give your users access to. One single search, really, really fast, and it just shows everything in here. You can break it down into tabs as well, but typically the all tab is the nicest way to go. We're again suggesting knowledge base articles. We think that's really, really important. It's one of the key kind of benefits of using a self-service portal is that the users can get instant responses, instant resolutions. So we're always going to present those knowledge base articles as kind of predominantly as we can. We've also got our services. So our users can go and request new services or log incidents against our services, and then kind of any existing tickets as well in there. So I'm going to go through and just raise a request. One point I forgot to say at the start is that today I'm demonstrating Halo in an ITSM capacity, but Halo is very much an ESM tool as well. So we can have multiple layers to our catalogs. We can have facility catalogs, HR, legal, whatever it might be, and also completely siloed areas in Halo as well. So I've got these IT areas here. We can have HR, facilities areas, those kind of stuff, and it's all completely siloed data. So like you can have completely segregated areas of the system. I'm going to go through a new starter request. Now, a new starter request doesn't have to come from the portal. I get a lot of feedback that actually we want it to come from our HR system. This is just one way of triggering it. So I'm going to show you this bit, off the back of that, the rest of the process is exactly the same. So I'm very quickly going to go through and raise this. I'm running short of time. So I'll raise this through. I'm going to add a few additional requirements to this. And I'll say no to all these. But you can configure this is all out of the box, but you can configure your forms. It's all drag and drop form building. So you can configure your forms to be exactly how you need them to be. So that's just going to drop into the system. And once that comes through, so that's come through into the system. And you'll see that's come through here with an approval process. It's come through as awaiting approval. Because I'm one of the approvers, if I just wait for that to load, you'll see I've got buttons here to accept and reject that approval process. As an approver, I can also go to my approvals page underneath here and approve it here. And I can also approve via email as well. So this is just an example of an email template I'm showing you. But effectively, the approvers could get an email like this and accept and reject options, just buttons in the email. And then this all fields variable here just populates all the information from that request. As I go back into that request, I am just going to go ahead and override the approval here. I'm going to approve it for this person as well, this generic user I've got here. Now, a big part of service requests, the reason kind of a lot of us vendors pick new starter as an example is because there's often multiple tasks that go off to different teams or different people to go and fulfill. So in Halo, just accept that. That's all driven by this plan. So every request can have a plan associated to it. And if I just expand this, you'll see, so I'll go back to the plan. If you just expand this, you'll see that each task is itemized in this plan. And then beneath each one, we have the rules to say when they're going to be created. So in this case, it's created a new task to create the new user in AD. And it's created that right now because this approval process has been approved. You'll see here, it doesn't just have to be a single rule. You can have multiple rules, so we can use additional fields on there. So we can do things like only create this task if they've checked the box on the form to say they require new hardware for their new starter. Also only create it if it's been approved, but also only create it once the previous task of creating an AD has been completed. So effectively, we build all this plan behind the scenes. We build all these rules out. We build it once, and it just works forever. It works in the background for us. These tasks, this is an example of a manual task, the task that's going to sit in someone's queue and they go and manually create the user in AD, but they can also be orchestrated tasks or automated tasks. So we can hook into Azure AD, or we can run Microsoft Orchestrator runbooks, or we can run PowerShell scripts or use Azure automation, whatever it might be, we can automate that task as well. And based on the success of it, we just get some feedback and it just drives along the workflow. On the top of integrations, just want to very quickly show you integrations as well. So Halo has all these out-of-the-box integrations. Again, no charge for any of these. They're all included in the standard subscription. And all you have to do is just go and enable any integrations you want to start using. So if you want to use, for example, Azure DevOps, we can just go into here, enable this integration. And most of them have this kind of top bit where you set up the authentication. And then there's various kind of configuration options that sit beneath it or within it, where you kind of define exactly how you want that integration to work. But there's all these options, and you can just go and enable anything that you want to start using. So in Tune, and you see they just go this kind of blue color, and then they go gray if they're not in use. So again, all that out of the box. I'll scroll down a little bit so you see a few more. But there's various kind of different ones broken down into different groups. Okay, and the final thing, I haven't got time to show you too much more, but the final thing I just want to show you, something everyone asks is reporting and dashboards. So I'm going to briefly touch on that now. So we'll start with reports. So we just break our reports down into different groups. I'm going to show you some examples here. Reports that are just basically got charts, we've got tables, we've got all the standard things. You can group them, you can average them, apply your filters, whatever filters you want, set your date periods here. When it comes to utilizing reports, we have options to send via email, export to CSV or Excel, print them or print them to PDF, and then various options under here for scheduling them as well. So you can just schedule them out to whoever it needs to go to, and then just set your schedule every Friday, end of the day or something, you get a nice report. Got dashboards as well. So all the dashboards are live. They're all widget driven. Just configure it as you want to. All drill down as well. And you can have as many as you want. Different teams and individuals can have their own. And then just finally, we have an online repository this is where we upload our reports basically. So any kind of new industry metrics, if SDI changes their reporting requirements, we would just go and upload them into here. And this is where we upload our reports and allow any of our customers just to add it to their local library and start using those reports. Okay, I think I'm at my time. Loads to see there, but I think that's all I had time to show you today.
Thank you, Tom.
I was going to keep going there.
Well, you know when your laptop sort of doesn't want to do anything. It's my pointer is playing up today, unfortunately, which
no problem.
Not what I want to do. That's great. Thank you, Tom. We have got some questions through. We're going to pick out one, if that's okay, Julie. Julie's got a number of questions, and she asks, let's pick out one. Publishing. Can it publish scheduled changes via the calendar tool? So can it be used, e.g., for example, in shared Outlook, Teams calendars? Does it integrate, and can you use that for changes?
So yeah, we have a change calendar. I haven't got anything too exciting set up here, but we effectively have a change calendar, which just a file will change there, which you can basically apply filters to. So some people like to have only approved changes on there, some like to have only normal changes, not standard changes, that kind of stuff. You can basically tailor the calendar view to however you want to using these filters. And then you can also publish it to the self-service as well if you want to. So you publish it to people within the organization to view that calendar as well. And that just pulls from this change area here. Yeah, so it pulls from our change management piece.
That's great. And again, we've got a couple of minutes, so I'll see if we can get all Julie's questions out, actually. Let's have a little look. Can Halo identify potentially duplicated tickets based on the same asset or customer? So two people logging potentially the same fault on an open access PC, for example, in a library, maybe in a ward, I don't know. So has it got the option to potential different?
So something I didn't get onto today is this suggested articles bot. It's also going to highlight any open problems, matching problems, but it also highlights similar open incidents. So that's where we're talking about where we have potential duplicates. And if there are similar ones, it just pops up in here, and then you've got the option to merge them within there.
Brilliant. That's great. And I think the last question then from Julie, does Halo allow you to communicate with users outside the ticket, either like a third party? So is this some kind of sort of, I don't know, collaboration option maybe where you can communicate in a ticket or outside a ticket with a third party? Yeah.
So
I don't know if that's Julie, maybe ping it in. Inside the ticket, or is that sort of outside the ticket? Is it the communication thing as in collaboration, or is it actually in the ticket? But go on, you, Tom.
It's quite it's quite a big topic that, but there's a few things we've got. So we've got a dedicated supplier piece, so we can have all our third parties in here. And if it is just support communication, you basically log your kind of support contact details in here. We can also manage any additional contacts underneath here. Various stuff around contracts and stuff, we want to do that as well, but we're not going to get onto that. But effectively, you can log it to a supplier. So if I pick Halo supplier, it's going to pre-populate with their email address. It doesn't have to be email as well. It could be kind of portal if we do integrate with them. And then what it does is it sends them an email, in this case, to their system. And you'll see it creates a link between Halo and that third party underneath here. We'll pull back the reference number as well, so we know the ticket number in the third party system. And we've got all these options to communicate back and forth with that supplier underneath here. It's kind of emailing the supplier. And also, if I just go back into the supplier, we can then track any basically any tickets that we've got outstanding or closed with that supplier. So you see we open tickets, this one here with that supplier. So the idea is it just brings it all into the system. You don't have to worry about leaving the system to communicate with them. It's all handled within Halo. And I've kind of primarily talked about email there, but there are other channels as well.
Good, that's great, Tom. Thank you very much indeed. We're on time, which is fantastic. Thank you for the questions, Julie. And I think, Tom, you're going to be staying with us as well. We're going to have our next Q&A shortly, so we'll see you then. Thank you for that, Tom. And also now we will be having another break. So another chance to have a coffee, tea, maybe, I don't know, if you didn't grab a custard cream last time, maybe this time. Please join us again at 2 p.m. for our next